Diversity, or rather, the lack of it, has become a hot-button issue, with backlash building against straight white dude dominance everywhere from boardrooms.
See, this is why I don't like working with women. You have no sense of humor.
You're fired.
And police forces.
Did I ever tell you what my first day on the job was like? Hello, I'm Raymond Holt.
Are you here to turn yourself in?
To video games and the Oscars.
Is Hollywood racist? You're damn right Hollywood's racist.
The social justice movement has made its way to the superhero sphere too. Marvel and DC have started ramping up character diversity in an attempt to better reflect the times and their fan base. The first black superhero in comics was the Black Panther, also known as King T'Challa, created by legends Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in 1966 for an issue of the Fantastic Four. Black Panther has been having a big 50th birthday, headlining this year's best-selling new comic book written by award-winning author and journalist Ta-Nehisi Coates, as well as making his scene-stealing cinematic debut in Captain America: Civil War. But T'Challa's new prominence is only the latest example of how comic book companies are transforming themselves for the 21st century. Neil Adams has seen this growth firsthand and has been pivotal in promoting that progressive change by co-creating Jon Stewart in 1971, an African-American Green Lantern who became the backup for Hal Jordan.
It may be that a majority of comic book superheroes are white males, but that's because they used to all be white males, except for Wonder Woman and Black Canary and maybe one or two others. Now there are Spanish, Puerto Rican comic book superheroes and black superheroes and women superheroes. I created the first black superhero who was not a gangbanger or an African chief, but was rather a college graduate and a professional.
The superhero genre may define post-millennial pop culture, but the characters were mostly created between the 30s and 60s, when nobody questioned why there weren't more women or minorities.
At a time, white America was the only group that had as much disposable income as it did. Families, immigrants, other types of people have, disposable income that they could spend on these kind of things now. So I do feel like there's a big demand for, other types of heroes.
Marvel has been making headlines the past couple years with their efforts to rectify the diversity imbalance that comes from using decades-old characters that were primarily straight white males. But perhaps the most progressive new character is Kamala Khan's Ms. Marvel. The Pakistani-American teen became Marvel's first Muslim superhero to headline a comic book. Ian Herring, a Toronto-based colorist on the comic, thinks Kamala Khan will give the audience a Spider-Man-like heroine that they can relate to.
I think it's just important to have a different viewpoint for each character, so other people can kind of relate to it. And even if it isn't, it's something that you are not, you can kind of see how another person had different experiences growing up. And I think it's a good way to understand someone else's culture.
Women being in comics, oh my God, it's empowering. Women are just as badass as men.
Ms. Marvel has mass appeal, but also joins an increasingly long list of comic books that are now reaching readers who have too often been ignored.
Right now, they're still trying to introduce the LGBT kind of superheroes into the comic books.
Comicdom's first openly gay character was Northstar, a member of the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight. More recently, DC's Catwoman came out as bisexual, Batwoman is a lesbian, while Marvel introduced a trans female angel named Sarah, Deadpool is pansexual, and the plot of the new Black Panther comic is fueled in part by a lesbian romance.
Times have changed, and as the audience changes, so do the superheroes.